Well, chat. Welcome back to the Unwithered Truth. Freddy and Friends
3D,
live.
Not 3D candy staring right at the camera. Chat, I see you.
Oh, Asif back with the 5 Unwithered Truth gifted memberships. Right off the
Oh
bat.
my gosh.
Or sorry, Asif. Oh man. What a time to be alive. Hello everybody. So today on Freddy and Friends episode 2, the first stream was the day before Secret of the Mimic came out for Freddy and Friends part 1 with T-Dreads. So this is my second official episode of Freddy and Friends with, of course, the wonderful Candy Bunny. Hello, Candy.
Hi.
So yeah, we are basically going to be discussing we're going to be doing a little bit of a creator interview, an exclusive behind the scenes look at Candy Bunny, and then we're going to go into talking about interactive novels and basically how or why you write them, why we've written them, because both you and I have a unique experience of having written an interactive fan novel for FNAF. So
Definitely.
I thought it would be an interesting idea for a stream to talk about that.
Yay. It's gonna be fun. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So I suppose we should just start off with some questions for you about you, and one that I'm going to start off with because I'm almost certain I stole it from Gibby. Was what was your first exposure to FNAF, or how did your relationship begin with FNAF?
Oh my gosh. I wasn't expecting to get into the history. That's crazy. And I feel like I said this on a stream before, but I don't remember if it was a big deal. And I haven't talked about it super in my videos either. So I don't know if people know how recent of a fan I was. But okay, wait. In college, a friend of mine randomly was hey, sit down and play this, and had me play Five Nights at Freddy's 1, and I literally didn't know what I was playing at the time. But looking back in my mind, I'm oh my gosh, it was Five Nights at Freddy's. And I didn't know anything about it. I had seen merch in stores, and I was I'm confident that there's a guy who's purple and a bear that's golden, and that's just about it. And then all the way up until the FNAF 1 movie came out, I learned nothing about FNAF, and two of my friends who like FNAF were hey, we're going to the FNAF movie. And by that point, I knew a little bit more about it from memes, but I still didn't know anything actually about it. So it was literally the FNAF movie that was my introduction, which is such a wild way to get in. And I definitely wouldn't have gone if my friends didn't drag me. Not drag me, I was excited to go, but I would not have gone to see the FNAF movie if my friends weren't going. Wow. So yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah. So that's a very unique way to get into the series, I think. I was aware that you got into the series a little bit later, but I had misremembered it that you had gotten in Security Breach. And
no, even later.
Even later. And it was the movie, it wasn't even one of the games. And the movie is so different as well. Even just
definitely,
stylistically.
And it's so goofy though to have seen the movie not knowing anything about FNAF, and to have just watched it as a pure horror movie.
It's a very, very unique perspective, I'd say, especially among FNAF creators. FNAF fans, surely, but actual Five Nights at Freddy's YouTubers whose job it is, talking about this stuff, to be so recently introduced to it and so able to have such a unique perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really cool. So my follow-up question would be, how do you think that kind of experience of the series, that way of getting into it, how does that color your view of the series now? Coming in and having seen the movie first, coming to the games, what was your kind of initial reaction, and how is that changing your view on the whole series even today?
Definitely. Wait, do you need to read the super chat first? I don't know. I don't actually know how streams flow.
I will do that. Nonchalant Artist 67 for $20. Thank you so much. The Q&A for your FNAF Reboot live stream, but I couldn't go, so I'd like to ask a question. I understand if you can't answer. 1, will you have a DLC in your FNAF 4 reboot like in the original? And will you have your own box as well? Ooh, interesting. I don't know if I'll have a DLC style for the FNAF 4 reboot. also assuming that the FNAF 4 reboot survives in like a whole sense, if that makes sense. Like I've talked about it a bit before on other streams, but like I want to diverge a little bit from the normal path, so it's not necessarily going to just be like FNAF 4 as you know it, rebooted. So it might be a bit different anyway, but have my own box. I have ideas for the box. I do have ideas for the box. But sorry, anyway, thank you very much for the donation. So I was asking Kennedy, how does coming into the series and the fandom through the movie impact your view of the series?
Yeah, definitely. First, I gotta say that it's absolutely, like, watching the 3D avatars move on this stream is absolutely sending me. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen. The unwithered truth Freddy is just looking at this tiny bunny on the couch. It's killing me. Anyways, how that has colored my perspective of FNAF. So somebody actually said a little earlier up in the chat, I forget who it was, but I think their name started with an S. They were like, how did the movie draw you to FNAF? And it honestly, like, it didn't super. I wasn't like watching this and I was like, oh my gosh, like this franchise is so cool. Like I need to get into it. I was really impressed with like the puppets in the movies and stuff like that, but I wasn't like, oh, like I need to like figure out like the lore of this franchise or like play the games necessarily. But I have no idea if Gibby knows this or if I've told it to him, but like the 8-hour like intro to Five Nights at Freddy's or 7-hour video kept like popping up in my YouTube, and then I was like, kind of what the heck, like maybe I could learn the lore of FNAF. So that was like how I learned everything, and then kind of immediately after watching that, I like went back and watched Daco's playthrough of like every single game, and then I got really into like Raito's podcast and watching Raito's podcast, and so like by the time I had like finished all those things, I was pretty decently caught up with most stuff. So the movie didn't super color like the way that I thought about the franchise, because like by the time I got done with all of that, I had almost forgotten what was in the movie. Sure. But I don't know. I mean, definitely for a while having it be like mostly Gibby and Rytos as theorists who I watch, and I have seen like not tragically little of maybe tragically little of game theory. I've watched very little game theory, and like now I kind of keep that up as like it's something that makes you unique, I guess, to like not have heard game theories, all their theories, but also kind of like sometimes people will be like, oh my gosh, you remember game theory's theory about X? And I'll be like, wow, what are we talking about? So that definitely I think makes the perspective unique. But for a while I would just have like a weird blend of like Gibby and Rytos theories until I started actually like playing the games for myself. So yeah, I think that's that.
that's a very comprehensive answer. Thank you. Yeah, I suppose, like you were saying, as soon as you start to dive in, it's like it's hard to keep track of. Oh yeah, the movie thing. It's like immediately like, okay, what one of these books do I even have to know anything about? Oh, all of them and none of them at the same time. Amazing. So
I think what's sort of unexpected
one of the many interpretations.
Definitely. I think what's sort of unexpected is I feel like a lot of the fans who got in around, like later, the Security Breach, kind of the new wave FNAF fans, have been pretty invested in the new wave lore. And it took quite a while for me to like warm up to the later stuff. I've like definitely always been most drawn to FNAF 1 through like Ultimate Custom Night, and maybe Help Wanted too, because it's like so similar. And it wasn't really until Secret of the Mimic and playing it, and really I had such a good experience with Secret of the Mimic. I had like no bugs or anything like that. And so it wasn't until then that I was like, okay, maybe I can get on board with this Mimic.
Yeah,
Mimic
that is
stuff.
I am pretty much the same way, because I got into FNAF like back in 2014. It was a huge thing for me. Loved it. I played it on my old YouTube channel that I had back in the day. And
Wait, you have an old YouTube channel?
I certainly did.
What?
That will remain buried forever. It was a Let's Play channel from when I was like 12. I think my first video I made, I was like 11 or something. It was me playing Minecraft.
Wow.
I just wanted to say also, Puppet Wraith, 20 gifted memberships is amazing. Thank you so much. That is insane. But yeah, so I got into FNAF back in 2014, and then stuck with it up until I think about Sister Location. And then Sister Location I wasn't a huge fan of at the time because I had a particular idea of what FNAF was, and that was quite far away from it. And then I kind of dropped off. I don't remember being kept up on Pizzeria Simulator at the time. I think I caught up a little bit after it came out. And then by Help Wanted Security Breach era, I think the most I did was like watch a game theory on it and just be like, what? The books have time travel now? What?
What the
like,
heck?
geez, I haven't watched this in a while. And then eventually it was around it was around the time that, like, because I watched Gibby's 8-hour video as well. That was kind of one of my ways back into the series. It was around the time that, like, T-Dread started uploading, and then Dual Process put out their video. I got back into it. But I never got invested in the Steel Wool stuff until Secret of the Mimic. And now I'm very much aware of everything and caught up on everything and interested in everything that's going on now. But it wasn't until Secret of the Mimic that I was, like, on board with this storyline.
Okay, so similar. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting. Depending on where you get into the franchise, it might not even change the outlook on it so much. Which tells me there's some level of, like, there is some sort of consensus that can be reached about the series in some way. Maybe.
Yeah.
I might be asking a lot.
Somewhat. I mean, I feel like, I don't know. There's a lot of divides, but I do feel like there is sort of like the, like, generally accepted consensus, kind of. It's like an amorphous, always moving blob target, but
Yes. So speaking of old Let's Plays and are being drawn to the series, I went back and I looked at your channel and I found that your first video was an Into the Pit playthrough.
yeah.
So
good times.
I have a couple of questions. Firstly, is like what led you to make that first video?
Oh boy. All right, this is so easy and slightly quicker, although I never say anything quickly, which is why my videos end up being plenty long. I had poured a lot of time ever since, like, I don't know, maybe like a month after the movie was when I watched Gibby's video. A lot of time and a lot of YouTube videos into FNAF, so I had like a lot of knowledge in my head. Like, I have so much information and I don't know what to do with it. And I wasn't following FNAF news necessarily, and I kind of just so happened to, like, open Steam and be like, a FNAF game, what the heck? And I had recently broken my foot, and I was like stuck in my 1-bedroom apartment, and then I was like, yeah, I could like stream this on YouTube, like that would be crazy. And then I found out that if you make a YouTube channel, you can't stream that day, you have to wait 24 hours. So I was like, what the heck, I'll just like record it and like learn how to video edit. That's like a good skill to have, basically. So I always say, like, I kind of like fell into it, which is not really true. Like, obviously intentionally I was like, I'll upload myself playing this to YouTube, and I like made theories after that, but I didn't really think that I was like becoming a YouTuber. I kind of thought I was just like putting a video or two out there, and then like all of a sudden I was like a YouTuber.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, did you think you'd be like a Let's Player, like even from the point of view of like, I'm not going to become a YouTuber, like, you know, was that the type of video that you were interested in making, or was that just a video you could make at the time and so you did?
Oh goodness. No, I don't know. Definitely I've never seen myself as being like somebody who lets play on stream. I like have a really hard time with like talking to people while I'm playing a game that I am not good at. Which is why if I ever stream, it's gonna be like Slay the Spire, Subnautica, and FNAF World. But in terms of like actually making Let's Play videos, not really even. Like, in my opinion, like people who like play the games just like for fun and have interesting commentary, and then people who do like speed runs or challenge runs are like a different breed. Like, that seems like a talent that I could never possess.
Yeah, it is such a particular skill, right? Because it's not just because like I said, I used to do it when I was a kid, and it was obviously just imitating my favorite Let's Players and, you know, trying to do what they did. But I'd forgotten how weird it is to do live because, like, I did that for Secret of the Mimic, where I played it live, and I was immediately just like, oh, I gotta like play the game and talk about it and not just be like, wow, this bit's hard to do, you know, for like an
You gotta
hour.
be funny and interesting on the spot.
Yeah, and like provide more value than just being in the corner of of the video, you know. It's like those reaction channels who are just like, hey guys, we're gonna react to this new video, and then the entire video they're just sat there like, cool.
Great. Yep,
Yeah.
nodding. Yep.
Cool video. Mm-hmm.
I think when you hit 1 million subscribers, you should definitely show one of the videos from your old channel for
Oh
sure.
my gosh, yeah, me playing the first FNAF all the way to night 5.
Because I'm dying to see it.
It's got my little baby face in it. I had a face cam and everything. Oh, it's so funny. Maybe, yeah. When I hit 1 million, yeah, that's a good goal.
1 million. All right, chat. If everyone in chat, hold on, how many people are in the stream right now? If everyone makes, and I can't do quick math, 1,000 fake accounts and subscribes to the Unwithered Truth, we can get so close, guys.
Just crash my entire income just by YouTube being like, this guy's clearly botting. Okay, so then, so yeah, I asked you about your Let's Plays and if you wanted to be a Let's Player or a theorist or whatever. So you were saying it's kind of like it came from a place of, oh, I've got all this stuff in my brain and I want to talk about it, but I don't know how to get it out there, who to talk to about it. So you just started to kind of put that energy into videos.
Yes, and also I had a broken foot and was like confined to my apartment,
right.
So I was bored.
That is so fair. Yeah, because that was the same. Not that I was like incapacitated or anything, but when I wanted to make my first video, it was just a case of like, this book came out. I was really excited about it because, you know, I just kind of gotten back into FNAF properly.
Yes.
This book was based around the old games, so I was like, wow, what a time to come back. You know, because like, I thought that we were out of that era of like the stuff that I enjoy because I'm not into the, you know, the Steel Wool stuff as I am now, and so I was like, oh my god, it's like a FNAF 1 book. That's crazy because I've never read, you know, I've never read any of the books, and this is like a game book, and I'm like, oh, and then it was great, and it was such a good book that like I was immediately like, oh, my brain is like exploding now with all these new ideas, and I don't know anyone in real life who like would know anything about this.
Yeah,
and so I just
totally,
I have to tell somebody my thoughts on it, you know, and so I just put it into a video.
Oh my gosh, and your first video, in my opinion, is like it was so good and so iconic. Just like crazy talented stuff, and it's only gone uphill. I feel like the week before also, because that was my first like theory video that did well. I think my first one was actually on like FNAF World / FNAF 3. But like when the week before came out, it was so hype. Not that the books are like at all similar, but in my opinion, like a spiritual successor to the security logbook in terms of being like,
yes,
everything in this is so important and cool, and it's like fun to play, and it's interesting, and it's great.
Yes. Hello, Benton Screams in chat. Benton Screams has joined. But yeah, it was. I agree, because I actually am a huge fan of the survival logbook as just like a piece of media in general. It's really cool that it exists, and the form that it exists in I find really interesting. And so it's funny because I do view them on like a similar level, or like at a similar kind of scale. I think the week before, I'm less certain about its canonicity as I was back when I read it. And
yeah, fair.
So like the whole canonical thing was, you know, that was a very important thing that I also find important about the survival logbook. And so without that as much, it kind of brings it down a few points, but it's still a great like book in itself. And I suppose that was going to lead me on to asking about the Into the Pit game. And when it comes to canonicity, because one of your early videos was about Into the Pit, and I think like the thumbnail is like a joke about, you know, Into the Pit Bonnie being canon or something. And
Buff Helpy. It was Buff Helpy being canon.
Buff Helpy, yeah, he can't help you if he's not canon. Yeah.
Gosh.
Which I thought was really funny. But when it comes to canonicity, like first of all, do you think the Into the Pit game is canon, for example? Is canon something that you find a important factor in your enjoyment of something? Or do you care at all about canonicity? Or are you just like, it's all FNAF, who cares?
That's a good question. Okay, so first of all, if any version of Into the Pit would be canon to like the game's timeline, I think it would be the Mega Cat Studios Into the Pit game. But I don't think that it is. I just think, like, I don't know. And I was literally making a joke about this yesterday with, I think it was with Gibby and Withered, where I was like, things are canon based off of how much I enjoy them. The week before, loved it. That can be canon.
Yes.
I know that's not actually how it works, but like in some ways, like I feel like how much fans receive a thing has to do with how much it gets featured later on, and can draw it closer to the canon.
Secret of the Mimic has Ralph mentioned in it. And it's
oh my god.
The second I saw Ralph's name in the email, I was like, I don't even care if it's canon. This is a goated reference. Like, people have argued it might not be the same Ralph. You know, maybe it's just whatever. I think it was. I think it's supposed to be explicitly, no, Ralph worked for Murray's Costume Manor and, like, you know, when he was younger.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great. And you're right. I think if the week before hadn't been received at all, then, you know, it wouldn't have been brought up again. I think it would have just been kind of like, oh, let's forget about that, you know. But I think Scott probably went out of his way to make a reference to it because of the reaction.
Because it was so good. It was peak. I also think the books have a decent track record of, like, not being canon, but the names that it reveal being canon, you know? Like Charlotte and Henry and the Murrays and stuff like that. It's like none of their stories stay the same, but it's like Scott had settled on the names or something based off the books, which is fun. But in terms of, like, how much canonicity matters, it doesn't really have much to do with how much I enjoy it. Like, I love Into the Pit. I was literally just replaying it for the first time since I originally played it, and I was like, this game is so good. But like, probably it definitely has to do with how much it's ever going to get referenced in one of my videos, because I am like making theories about the whole timeline of FNAF, and so I think it's not super likely that they'll come up a ton, because you just can't take questionably canon things as easily as you can take everything else, you know?
Yeah, totally. And it becomes a whole thing that you almost are obligated to discuss when you are, like, bringing something in that's dubiously canon or whatever. You always need the part of the video where you're like, no, this isn't, I know it's not canon, don't hate me, but I think it's kind of interesting if you look at it through a door with your eyes closed and it's dark out, you know, like, yeah, it could be canon, maybe a little bit. And then you have to discuss it in this very apologetic way. You're like, I'm sorry I'm using this, but it's really good for the theory.
It's the top 2 disclaimers every theorist always has to make in their videos. They either have to be like, this isn't from canon material, but like, we can still apply it because I want to, or I got this from the FNAF wiki, don't come for me, I know it's not reliable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, or like, I remember I used a fan model of the Sister Location Springlock suit because I just needed a visual. And I had to put a disclaimer, like, on screen. I was like, I know this isn't what it looks like in canon. Like, we don't know what the outside looks like. I'm just putting it here because you can tell what it is without me having to use that full screen PNG of its face. But yeah, I think I'm on the same page as you. It's not like, oh, I'm not going to enjoy this thing if it's not canon. It's just not necessarily going to factor in as much as the more quote-unquote important stuff. I totally
also think, because you and I both make some, like, basically fan fiction content, both in terms of video and in terms of writing, there's a much higher chance that it would be featured heavily, like, for me, in my, like, those, like, in-universe videos that I've made two or three of, and I definitely want to make more of because they're really, really fun, than it would be to be in, like, a big theory video.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Sorry, these notifications are blowing up my ears. Don't forget to like 50-ish people who haven't, says Just Because, member for 8 months. That is crazy. Yes, everyone that hasn't liked, hit the like button. And Asiv for 20 Canadian dollars. Thank you so much. That is very generous. No message even. If there was a message supposed to be attached, just at me in the chat and write your message.
Heck yeah.
But
Yeah, you have to like the stream, otherwise forward-facing Candy is gonna look right at the camera again.
yeah, exactly. So anyway, I turned it to face the audience. So this is actually, I think it's a good way of segueing into the main topic of discussion, which is how to write an interactive novel is the title. And we're going to talk about our experiences writing Solid Silver member for 5 months. Thank you very much, Solid. Redeeming this to distract you. I always come
I saw it, Silver. Also, you asked way back earlier in the chat who my favorite FNAF animatronic is, and it's RWQ FSFASXC.
Yes.
And I feel so proud that I can say that by memory now. It took me so long because I would stumble over it. And
Yeah.
Rockstar Foxy and Rockstar Bonnie, my top 3.
Hell yeah.
Except
Rockstar Bonnie,
that's just-
interesting.
Yeah, oh my gosh, she's so fun, and I get a song stuck in my head all the time. Also, this is subject to change day by day, but that's just who I'm feeling today. So,
Okay, sweet.
sorry, back to the topic at hand.
Yeah, so it's sort of fitting, given your first video was an Into the Pit playthrough, that when you come to write an interactive novel, a fan work of your own, that it's escape. No, I did it again. I keep doing that. It's return to the pit. So this is your rewrite of Return to the Pit, which you have overhauled in pretty much every way I can think of.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a little bit about when and why you decided to make a fan version of this book?
100%. So, I mean, it was right about like when it came out and everyone was making content on it, and the general sentiment of Return to the Pit is, I'm already trying to say escape the pizza flex and into the pit. Oh my gosh, we're gonna get so lost in the sauce. Is everybody was like, dude, the week before was peak. Like, what happened? Literally everybody's take on Return to the Pit was like, sucks. Probably not canon. It was like a little broken. It was a little janky. A lot of the endings took you to like the same ending.
Yeah.
And then everybody was like, oh, but the Avengers section was like really funny. Like what if we just had like a really funny book where it was like the Avengers section the whole time? And I was like, I'm gonna write like a funny version called Return to the Pit, where Oswald, it was nebulous at the time, but I think the original intention was Oswald was going to get hit by a car in every single ending. And then I was like, no, like that's like not going to be really fun to read. And then I was like, okay, it's going to be one where like it like kind of towards the middle goes on the Avengers track, and that's like the canon route, and you get to like go and like play with like the military inside the pit at 1985 Five Nights at Freddy's. Kind of like, you remember like when Scott had like the movie scripts that were out for FNAF 2 and there was the military script? I was like, I'm gonna go with like the military script and it's gonna be the FNAF Avengers basically. And then it ended up being in absolutely no way that, and I didn't even have an Avengers section because once I started writing it, I got way too into it. The whole thing was supposed to be like funny and a joke, and it was gonna be really funny to read, and then like 5 pages in, I was like, I can't commit to the bit. Like, I need to write. I just like really wanted to just like rewrite. I just wanted to fix it.
Yeah, no, that is so fair. Kettle God says beverage check. Everybody, get some beverages into you. Some water.
Heck yeah,
water
thank
check.
you.
But I absolutely love that idea of going back into 1985 Freddy's with all the military guys and like having to fight them on their home turf. That is hilarious. That is, have you seen the Ennard takes down an attack helicopter video? Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. I don't think I've even heard of it. What the heck?
Okay. So we reacted to it on TD's stream one time, so you can go back and watch us watching it. But like, it's one of these like VHS horror fan project things, and it's basically like a bunch of like guys that look like they're from CS:GO, you know, like just full tactical gear, military guys. They've got like the chopper gunner thermal camera, and they fly up to the sister location bunker, right? And they breach. And they send a little like bomb disarming drone into the vents, and it finds Ennard. And then they all go in and they like shoot Funtime Foxy like 1 billion times in the face. And then like Ennard starts fighting them, and you know he uses a grenade. It's the most insane thing ever.
That's freaking wild.
There's the interviewed series as well, which is like it's like supposed to be kind of SCP, but all FNAF characters. So it's all the FNAF animatronics who have different personalities and voices and stuff. They're all in like a big SCP bunker together, and then they eventually break out. And there's like scenes with like withered Bonnie like mowing people down with a machine gun, and I'm like, what am I watching? And then it'll like take a complete 180 and just be the like best FNAF fan fiction you've ever seen, with like really cool interactions between like Cassidy and the puppet and William, and you're like, what the fuck? What? How am I 2 scenes away from Bonnie mowing people down? Like, what's happening?
Let me tell you, man, FNAF fans are the best.
They make wild. Sorry, that
was
that was a very long tangent, but basically, I think it's really funny to take that and then make that into like an entire one of these books. And honestly, I would read that with as much enthusiasm as I read this. But people who were 10 when those came out will say those vids are better than the Steel War. It's the prequel effect.
That's crazy. Also, I really want to reciprocate the question and ask when you, or like what made you start on the week prior.
Hearing that you were writing your one. That's what it was, literally, because I was like, oh, that's such a cool idea. And then I was like, oh, I'd love to do the week before, but I love the week before as it is. Oh, but I'm doing these reboots as well. Oh, well, I could make it a part of the reboot and then like do a book like about, you know, whatever led up to Anniversary, you know, and do like a prequel to that. And then I started writing it with the intent of writing like quote unquote like a prologue to the book, where it would be a handful of choices, and I was going to get people to playtest that. And then I started writing it, and so a week prior is actually an incorrect title for the currently released version, because it takes place a week and a day before Anniversary, because it's supposed to be the prologue was 8 days. But anyway, it's I started writing it, and then I just snowballed, and then by the time I was like, yeah, that's the prologue finished, I was like, oh, it's longer than the week before. Or it was like about as long. So I was like, I don't think it's a chapter.
You could almost say that I wrote Return to the Pit, and you wrote the day prior to the week prior.
Oh my. The day prior to the week. Oh my gosh. I did the naming convention on my own fake version.
Oh, that makes sense.
Or just the day before the day before the week before. That is literally what it is. Because you don't know, maybe the week before is perfectly canon and mine with just a bit of dialogue. You don't know. A day prior to the week before. That is hilarious. So yeah, I guess that's what got me writing. So I suppose then I'm sure people are curious, and I don't even know how well I can answer this question, but what was your first step in writing the interactive novel? You mentioned a little bit how you wanted it to be like a jokey version, but like what was your, okay, page 1, is it the opening to the book? Is it an idea for an ending you had? How did you go about or did you plan it all before and then write it? How did you go about it?
Hi golly. I can't remember what I actually said in the last stream at the end of it and what I said to you probably after that, but it doesn't really matter because the same people might not be here, so I'm good to repeat things. I have said that I had a few like things in my, once I was like, this is serious, you know, I had a few ideas that I really wanted to see done. I don't actually know if they're the first step, but they're the most interesting early steps, so I'm definitely going to talk about them. The first step was probably like writing the first page and then realized that I'm taking it too seriously. That I really wanted because both Return to the Pit and I think Escape the Pizzaplex had broken links. And oh, and the week before, that's right, had that one page that had like the hint to I've already forgotten what it was. Was it Capellia's age that gave a
Yes,
hint to something, but that
Capellia's.
page was
Yeah.
inaccessible. And that was like your first video, right? Where you were like, this
Yep.
page shouldn't be used because it is clearly from an earlier version and isn't supposed to
Yes.
be here. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, like you, like it's such like a missed opportunity. Close up, buddy. It's such a missed opportunity to have a FNAF book and not have it like that's playable and not have it in some way be able to be something that's glitched. And then immediately from thinking you should be able to like glitch it somehow and get to a page that you shouldn't be able to get to, I was like, I need to make Old Man Consequences where you keep scrolling down after you get to his ending page, just like you scroll into like dive into the lake, and then you get to a secret part that gives you a secret item. And then from Old Man Consequences came the idea, I was like, oh my gosh, I should make like a little art of like the lake out of like ASCII art, and that's where the ASCII art came from. And then from that then came, I was like, oh my gosh, the other iconic glitch is Midnight Motorist, and you could totally have Midnight Motorist in this, and I could do it with ASCII art again. And then the other thing that it kind of bothered me about all of the other interactive novels is that they're not actually, like the true ending isn't beatable on a single playthrough, which definitely wouldn't bother me as much if I was like pretty convinced that they're definitely canon. And then I was like, oh great, this is supposed to tell us that like the canon ending can't be the canon ending. But it didn't really end up working that way because like the week before you need the phone, right, to leave the messages?
Yep. Yep. That is.
And
You
so
need
that
Bronwyn's
is
phone.
the canon ending. The true ending. And it bothered me that you had to get all the way through the book and then they were like, well, just play it again and do all the same choices, but just like do a few different ones to get to the other ending. I really wanted the game to be beatable on a single playthrough. So that's why you have a pretty early decision that gets you to getting the bonus item, assuming that you find the glitch, and from there you can beat the game with the bonus item, assuming you found it. And that was the first step, was the concept of
you
glitching
go.
the book.
Yeah, I remember they did in the week before, and I think the Return to the Pit did it as well. Like they had those pages that like had, if you chose an item that didn't exist, it would bring you to the purple guy page, and it was
That's
like
right.
he laughs at you or whatever, you know, and you get then all the like links to the different chapters I think are in that one, and that to me was really interesting as well. But I think you're right in that page that we did find that wasn't supposed to be there was more of a mistake. I still hold that it was a mistake that it was in the book. That really made me kind of consider the layout of these things, of how they're made, was something that really intrigued me. So then when I heard when you were writing one, I was like, oh, well, I guess I could. I didn't even think of like, oh, I should try it. I was just like curious about how it would work. But then when I heard you were doing it, I was like, oh yeah, maybe I could try my hand at it. And it became clear to me quickly how a thing like that is left in. Even when I was
Definitely.
even when I was thinking about it, like when the book itself had come out, I I was like pretty, confident that it would be easy to leave something like this in there by mistake, because if you have multiple drafts of this book going around, you're going to have multiple drafts of multiple pages that are multiple different endings, and it's going to be hard to keep track of all that. But I didn't realize how easy that would be until I actually started to, sit down and do it myself, because I think the way I went about it was, I sat down, I started writing, I'd get to a point where I'd be like, oh, now should be a choice. I'd lay out like, oh, click here if you want to go here, click here wherever you want to go here. I'd set up my hyperlinks. And then as I was writing more and more options, I was like, what page do I put this on? Like, do I put it after the next choice or before the choice that was there? Like, there's a lot of layout stuff that you have to consider. And then I'm like, okay, so now I have to keep track. It's not like 16 goes to 17 goes to 18. It's like 16 goes to 25, which goes to 18, which goes to 30, and a few different endings can go to 30, and then 30 goes to 24, and you're like, what? You have to keep track of all that. So I started doing it like
wild.
I did it like a big spider web diagram. I can't remember what app I used for it, but I
was gonna ask what app you used.
it might have been Notion, but I think there is like a spiderweb app. But no, I think it was it was Notion. I remember now, it was Notion. And so I just kind of, wrote out, when I would come to a choice, I'd just be like, okay, this goes to page whatever, write that down so I remember. And then I started building out that web. And there were times where I would write and then, come up with the choice as I was writing. And there were other times where I would come up with the choice and then write those pages. Because there were definitely certain endings or certain paths where I was like, I just got to figure out a way to get them from here to there, and I don't really know what's going to happen in between, so I'll just write that bit now, and then I'll come up with whatever happens later.
Oh, interesting. So you sometimes wrote things without their connections finished yet?
Yeah, so like without necessarily knowing, oh, this is going to go to, like, for example, there's kind of like a big divergence at the very beginning of the book that can kind of bring you down a lot of different paths. But usually it's like you end up either in Mike's bedroom, you end up in the basement, or you end up in like the bathroom or something, like downstairs hallway. And those are the kind of main three areas that you end up in the book. And so they usually spawn from, sub areas of those areas would spawn from me being like, okay, so he goes into the house, and this is one of the house bits, and then, what happens now? Oh, Mike comes downstairs, but in one ending he's nice to him, one ending he's not nice to him. Oh, now he's going to have to move out here. Oh, he can go back into the basement, and then that could be a bit of the basement part. And then, trying to break it up into little, like, segments that I could follow on the mind map, where certain things would interject or certain areas would be collected together. Was kind of helpful when I was mapping it out from the start. But not all of those were pre-planned. It was just sometimes I'd be writing and I'd be like, oh, it would be cool if he went here, and now that's a new choice that I have to write after this.
Totally. The mind map is like totally essential. I have no idea how you would. I mean, I don't think you really could write without one. No, you would totally lose it. But I wrote in like a pretty, not linear fashion, because how could it be a linear fashion writing something with so many choices? But like I would tend to kind of drive down a certain path all the way to, not all the way to its ending, but maybe all the way to the end of a section or until that game over or something like that. And then along the way, I would leave, because I write everything that I do in Google Docs. So I would write, the choices that I had in mind. Yeah. And then I would be, I would pick, I have every section is called bit, which but I don't know if everybody on the stream knows. So bit 1, bit 2, bit 3. And then I originally also had titles for them all, which actually were never meant to be shared. They were just meant for me to remember what was supposed to happen here and where I had left off. So I would write an option.
Titles like that as well, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And then I would turn that bit title into a section header so that it would appear in the side of Google Docs, where the headers are. And then I would put an asterisk by it if I hadn't written anything there, or an asterisk if I hadn't completed writing that section. And then if it was completed, I would delete the asterisk. So that's how I kept track. And yet, despite it all, I still actually did end up making a mistake. One of my links was broken when Gibby played through it. So rip.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn. R.I.P. Yeah,
I'm confident I don't have any pages that aren't supposed to be in there. So.
Yeah, that is. I have my bookmark list here from Word. So I was literally breaking them down to, angry response, answer door after, ask mask, back to workshop happy, back to workshop alt, bargain post cop, bring boy to friends, calm down bedroom alt. Do not give candy, drag to basement, drop the boy alt, dust mask, find remote, forget remote, 14, gentler touch, give candy teens, give foxy
give candy
mask,
what?
Foxy mask alt, give candy teens. give teens.
I don't want any.
Well, I'm sorry. It's just it's here. I can't do anything about it. I got to give them to you. You got to sign them.
What am I supposed to do with all these teens?
But yeah, Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, we talked about the sequence breaks and the format. I have it listed here as format fuckery is what I wrote down for like the Midnight Motorist and All My Consequences stuff, which by the way were so cool. I know you already talked about them, but they were so amazing and so fun to go through. Especially like because I think it's interesting hearing you talking about it and what drew you to it, and then like the things that I am drawn to when it comes to writing. That sort of format break thing I really love. I even like use of different fonts or whatever to communicate different things, or spacing out your words or breaking up paragraphs in interesting ways. Anything that can be done to play with the format, I think, is very interesting. But you've talked about your kind of inspiration for those. So you mentioned Gibby, obviously, and the playthrough that he did. I was lucky enough to have him do the same for my my interactive novel, and so I wanted to ask, what was it like watching that playthrough for the first time? Like, was that the first time you got to experience somebody else reading it, or at least seeing somebody else reacting to it live?
Yeah, it was. I had sent earlier copies, I think, to a handful of FNAF friends, but it wasn't finished and they didn't get super far into it. And so, yeah, I was a little terrified. I really have not written much in my entire life. And I definitely knew that Gibby knows a lot about like writing and literature, but also would not hold it against me because I think he knows that I don't write very much. But I was still like really nervous about that. I was like, what if I just suck?
I have the same fear. I remember because I was so excited to see him read it, and then just as I saw it, like as he sent me the videos, and I opened the first one, I was like, I haven't yet considered that my book is just really bad, and this is going to be the most embarrassing experience of my life. Like, I could just tell he hates it. But thankfully he did not hate it, and he was very kind about it.
Oh my goodness.
But anyway, sorry. Yeah, so you
and
watched
then
the
watching Gibby's videos, because it was done for a good amount of time before he actually got around to like recording it and playing it. And so watching his videos where he would talk about other people's writing, like, actual writers who it's much more fair to criticize. Not that you can't criticize me, but like, please, I'm sensitive. And then he would be like, oh, like, this suffers from clearly the author thought of this like a movie in their head, but it's actually a book and it doesn't translate to a book. And then it would be like, oh no, like I can totally think of the scene that like I thought of as a movie in my head, and I was like, it's awful. Anyways.
Yeah, I do that too, because my background is in film, so there's definitely times when I'm like seeing it play out as a movie in my head, and I think if I've ever gotten reactions from people that I know for my writing, they're all people that like movies as well. It's like, we all read or like reading, but I think sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I could see that movie, that scene so clearly, and now I'm like, oh, I should be careful about doing that. Like, I don't know if it came across in that particular piece, but I'm kind of curious to analyze my writing in the future to see if that comes across.
Definitely. And I feel like it was that was the only example that I could think of, but I definitely like know that there were more examples of things that Gibby would say about other books, and then I'd be like, what does this say about my book? But one of the most fun things about watching Gibby read it is I really powered through. So my book's in 3 sections basically, and I wrote section 1 and section 2 in 2 big chunks, and I reread them a lot because when I lose motivation to work on my projects, the top 2 things that give me motivation to want to work on them again is opening up my comments and seeing what people have commented on my YouTube channel, because everyone is so freaking nice to me. And so like I'll open it up and there'll be like a million comments of people being like, I just binged your videos, like I love your voice, like you should make more content. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And then the number 2 thing is like reading my own work, because I always like when I step away from it, I'm like, I write garbage. Like, what? Like, why does anybody listen to this? And then I come back and I read it, and I'm like, wait, I'm the funniest person on earth. And so I went back and I reread sections 1 and section 2 a lot. But section 3, I basically wrote in like one big chunk of a section, and then I was like, it's done, I'm sending it out. And I basically didn't reread it, and I couldn't remember what all the options were or what they led to. So by the time that he got to that last section, he got to like choices, and I was like, wait, I don't know which path is the canon path or what he's supposed to do here. And that was really, really fun to like come back and see that. And I also felt an extreme like smug sense of superiority when he got to the end without the bonus item or any of the bonus item options, and then being like, ha ha ha, my glitches are so well hidden.
Yes.
I'm really clever.
Yeah, I.
Right now.
Oh whoa, my internet has decided to go robot, but I don't know if that's me
Oh
or
dear.
you. Oh no, you're
Hopefully
back.
not me.
Okay. But yeah, I had the help of chat when I was reading your book, so I was I was cheating. I was able to find the secrets very quickly, but I still felt like it was so like, you know, I wish I had found them on my own. But even then, going through the book with that like awareness, it was kind of cool because there were certain choices or certain things that was like, oh, this must be how we get the Polaroid for, you know, for Susie or for, you know, for Jeremy.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. Let me see. Yeah, I had a similar experience with the Gibby read through. The fear in advance, the relief when he enjoyed it, and then like the you know, I had the smugness of like, yeah, Gibby actually thinks my book's all right. You know, it's like a you know, very much an ego flaring thing to be like,
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, Gibby hates the rest of these books, and mine's all right. So must be doing something. But you know, maybe he's just being super nice. He thinks they're really bad. It's all a big joke. But hopefully not. Let me see. Oh yeah, so here's a Gibby said, you want your writing to make people feel like they can see it as a movie, not describe it as a movie. That makes. And then he said, and both of you did it so well. Aw, thank you, Gibby.
Sage writing advice. Heck yeah.
Yes, yeah. But it was great to get that feedback as well. And I even, you know, I was making fun of reaction channels earlier, but I'll admit, I love watching, and it's probably just a big ego thing, but I love watching people's reactions to my videos, even if it's for like a morsel every like 20 minutes where they'll be like, whoa, that's crazy. I'll be like, ooh, they like the video. You know, I'll be so
Dude, and you've had Game Theory react to your videos, so like,
well,
ego
yeah,
boost of a lifetime.
That was huge. I mean, they do a lot more than the, you know, just to sit there and then go, cool. But
nice.
like that was crazy. But yeah, so when it came to the content of the book, right? The actual routes and paths and Easter eggs and references and all that kind of stuff, because I think around the FNAF community there's this kind of discussion going on since the second movie came out about like fan service and how it relates to the writing of something, and how something like Seeker the Mimic does fan service, I think, quite well, or the week before, which I think does it just expertly, or even the logbook or something like that. And then, you know, there's other examples, not just in FNAF, in just like franchise media in general at the minute, of this like, you know, jangle the keys at the audience, you know, so they know what they're looking at, you know, like, oh, it's Boba Fett or whatever. You know, not to bring a Star Wars example. But I was curious, when you were going through, was there anything particularly guiding your hand when it came to like references or certain paths of the story that you were taking? Like, I'll give an example. You know, the fact that you can pop up in Freddy's in 1984 in like the very first part of the book, and like you have a whole set of endings that are in that part of the Freddy's like universe. Or later on when we go to like meet Phone Dude or whatever in the future, like what was driving those decisions?
Yeah, definitely. So there were like two main driving forces. Once I decided that I was serious, of course, and not just writing the Avengers ending. One of them was I wanted every canon. Wait, canon? I wanted you to be able to get the book ending of Into the Pit, and I wanted you to be able to get the game ending of Into the Pit, and then I wanted you to be able to get my ending of Into the Pit, if that makes
Yes.
sense. So that was one thing, and just and specifically for the book one, I wanted, if you played the book ending, I wanted it to be as similar to the book itself as I could bear to make it, basically. So like the
Yeah.
dialogue was ripped pretty verbatim out of there for all the choices that were exactly the same as the book ending. There's obviously like a few differences. Some of it had to do with the format, and some of it had to do with like well, mostly the format. Like the book is not super action packed. So it would be kind of boring, I guess, if you just played through it the regular way. And then regarding like popping up in 1984, that was kind of the other guiding star, is that I was like, they, especially with like, wait, what is it, Fazburger theory, the theory that all the locations are basically right on top of each other. I was
Yes.
like, I can't believe there have been so many iterations of a time traveling ball pit, and you don't
Uh-huh.
time travel to anywhere else in this wonderful franchise. And there are so many places that you could go that are like pretty commonly accepted as being like, yeah, these are probably the same location. No, I mean,
Yeah.
not all of them necessarily. So I knew that I wanted to do that. A lot of other Easter eggs, I feel like there's like the old man consequences Oz Mike chip was
Mhm.
like kind of like a total coincidence, and then I was like, I'll leave it in.
Yeah,
That sort of
yeah.
stuff. But and then I feel like the week before is totally like my guiding star in terms of how to write it, as in like I wanted the choices to feel like that. I wanted your choices to feel like they had consequences. I definitely wanted there to be a scene where, you know, lots of animatronics are pursuing you, because that was really, really fun. I felt like in the week before being like, I'm
Yeah.
going in here, oh no, like Chico is in there or something like that. And also in terms of like Easter eggs that matter. But there's because they do have a lot of Easter eggs in the week before that do, it's not, they're not just like, oh my gosh, like we said, was that the bite of 87 or something like that. We actually like, it's actually like a reference that you're like, oh, this like, it doesn't exactly change my understanding, but it is in like a slightly new context in a lot of
Yes.
ways that was very
Yes.
exciting and fun. But there's like so much pressure that's not on me that would have been on anybody who makes anything canon, because I'm making fan content. So it doesn't really matter if I
That
butcher the lore.
that's fair, but like anything that you did, I compared it to the week before when I was reading it. All of the like, you know, fan references and Easter eggs and stuff like that felt very much like they do in the week before, because you weren't necessarily saying anything which was, you know, contradictory or in any way like contrarian or trying to reframe it or recreate, yeah,
Hmm.
reshape it, right? All of your references, like the phone dude thing, right?
Yes.
Phone dude being there, us popping up out of the pit. Jeff's is clearly more run down. It's closed. There's this guy who speaks all tubular, man, and he talks about how he's looking for authentic Freddy's merch, and all that kind of stuff. Him being there and us talking to him felt absolutely appropriate, but he didn't go, by the way, I was the Chica Bully, in 1983. It was it was just like, oh, there he is as I know him, and this is really cool because it's now I'm getting like new phone dude dialogue. It just
Yeah.
feels like kind of nice to revisit that character in that time and space, um, in a way which felt natural. And I think that's the thing which kind of separates good and bad fan service, is it feeling natural to the progression of the story, or feeling like it's
Totally.
not like the entire book is like, stop, we gotta talk to phone dude, um, but I
And
completely.
also,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
with that, like the FNAF 3 specifically, or the phone dude, sorry, it's like no idea what year it is. And also, like, to extrapolate that phone dude went out to locations that had a Freddy's and looked for the artifacts, that's not like new information. He talks about how he's out looking for new artifacts right now and stuff like that. So like it also like totally fits with him and what he's done and everything that we know about him. So I don't know.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
that's a particularly good shining example that makes me look really smart. So thank you for bringing it up.
Really, really good. Same thing with like the follow me, like going to the like, Springtrap area was like, oh boy, we're here. And it was obviously kind of the weird Into the Pit version of it, because it was the Pit Bonnie, but it was also Springtrap, and it was the kids were there and they were helping us. And obviously in Follow Me, Oz's dad is not just like in the corner, but like, they, all of those moments felt very appropriate and very intriguing, because it was just seeing the thing you knew from a slightly new perspective, just like shifted like 5 degrees to the left and being like, oh cool, I didn't know it that specific thing was true. Very much like the experience of the week before. Speaking of the week before, you mentioned, and feel free not to share it if you don't want to, but in the last stream we were talking about this book that you've written, and I was asking if you had any more ideas for future stories, and how even though I have technically, as we've discovered now, done a day before the week before, if like a more true adaptation of the week before in the style of your book, which I would like kind of see as like a reboot of the interactive novel, if there would be an idea for a week before kind of rehash, the week before, and you said you had a banging idea, and I'm curious if you'd like to speak to it at all.
A smack-a-lackin' idea, and this was also old. This was like right when I started writing Return to the Pit, and I was like, the week before. And so honestly, I can't remember if this is the original idea or like the change, the evolution of it. But specifically, it's FNAF 2, and you have in FNAF 2, you're there. Actually, I guess the week before wouldn't really work. It would have to just be the week before, and you've already taken the week prior. What's another synonym for prior? I can't even think of one. The week preceding. Week. But maybe it could be the week before. But you're there, and you kind of find out that 1 week ago, that the security guard who worked there the week before you during the night shift is, William Afton, and potentially the DCI or whatever on earth was happening in FNAF 2. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that would be so fun. And oh my gosh, wait, this is totally, it's all coming back to me now, because I was like, that would be so fun, but wouldn't you have to write from the perspective of William Afton, prepping for and kind of. And you would also have to say something about what happened with the DCI or didn't happen with the DCI, which would be a lot more contentious than me writing Into the Pit or Return to the Pit. Oh my gosh. But then I was like, I can't write from the perspective of William Afton. Like that is like way too like creatively difficult, and I think it would just be like, it would be really hard to get inside his mind, and I think that you would get really worn down by having to write things from his perspective. And then you told me you were writing from the perspective of William Afton, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's literally like a challenge that I turned down, and then you decided to do it.
See, I've always found William to be an extremely interesting character, not only in the context of the story, but in the context of like the meta franchise itself, in how I find him to be presented so particularly and so interestingly in the first like 5 games, and then how everything after that he's like this cartoonish Machiavellian, like twisting around and dancing and laughing, and like not at all how I pictured him from those original games. And so I have this very particular idea about what I think he should be, and I don't even think it's what he is. And it's not like my place to be like, Scott doesn't even know how to write William. It's like, Scott doesn't want to write this character. Like, my guy might as well just be, it's Bill Afton, and like the reason I wanted to do the kind of book from his perspective is I was like, I want to get to know more about the version of William I have in my head, because I know vaguely about the games what makes me think of him in that way, or what at least conjured that image of him early on. But I wanted to get to know more about, like, if you took that character and fleshed it out and really did something, exploring his character, what that would look like. And it was just also like, it was fun for me to be like, what can I do that's like messed up, but also I don't want to go so like grimdark that it's, you know, like some of the FNAF VHS tapes, like he ate them or whatever. You know, I don't want to go, and I don't have to be so explicit about certain things, and I can be explicit about other things, but just making it unsettling to be in his shoes, you know, and making this, because like it's the worst character that you'd have to play as to pick what to do, right? Like you don't want to be him.
Yes.
You don't want to be like, I'll kill this kid or that kid, you know. Like you don't want to have to pick that.
Potentially somewhat influenced by Gibby's playthroughs too. I feel like maybe with all 3 of the interactive novels, when Gibby did the playthrough on his channel, he would be like, I want to play through it the first time, like trying to make decisions that I think Ralph would make or I think Oz would make. If somebody played your game and it was like, I want to like put myself in the shoes of William, and then you go, ugh, I don't want to do that. I want to be nice to everyone.
Yeah, I think that was Gibby's thing, was when he played my book, he was like, we're going to play a good dad because he cares. We'll care, you know?
Picking the mean option makes me feel like a bad person, even though it's fictional.
That is so far, and that's what it's supposed to feel like. ACID for 5 more gifted memberships. Thank you so much.
Solid silver. What's so wrong with being in the mind of William Afton? Says the #1 William voice actor of my acquaintance. Did you experience?
Sorry, SSG George says for $2, can't wait for half a fortnight previously. Willcare 67. This game truly makes you feel like William Afton.
Willcare 67 is a crazy name. That's crazy. Did you experience what I thought I would experience if I wrote from the perspective of William Afton, where like you get to a point and you're like, I just don't want to do it anymore. I just want to write from someone else's perspective. He's too yucky.
Is it bad if I say no?
No, goodness, that's good.
No, I mean, like, yes, there were definitely times when I was writing it that I felt quite like, you know, but you know, when that happened, I went, oh, that means I'm doing something right. You know, like if I'm writing it and coming up with it on the spot and being like, ooh, I don't like him, he's so gross and bad as a dad, you know, and then I'm thinking, well, if someone reads it and thinks that, then great, you know, that's what I want. Because the main thing, and it was something that I took from when I was making the reboot videos as well, is like, I think part of what is so interesting about FNAF as a franchise is that it has become like this kid-friendly, family-friendly thing, and yet the entire story is predicated on child murder. And it's like, it's really funny that you can buy like Freddy Fazbear, you know, teddy bears and like action figures at like a toy store, when, you know, it's like, buy your own opposable dead child spirit. Like, what? You know, with murdering action. Like, it's
fully articulated.
Yeah. Oh boy, I can crunch their bones by moving his arms around. It's just, it's very odd to me. And so when I was making the reboots, I was like, well, what would I do if I was, you know, given the keys to the franchise? And like, I think I would go and lean into the fact that this is not, you know, it's not a kid's game in concept. I know it's like, you know, horror for kids or whatever, but, you know, conceptually, this could be a really haunting series, like a really upsetting, you know, deep dive. And not just for grimdark factor, not just to be like, oh yeah, isn't it edgy? Like, just in terms of like storytelling weight, you're playing with like really heavy subjects, and so you can do some really interesting heavy things. Especially because the story starts to evolve and become about Henry and about Mike and their relationships to the victims and the lost, you know, souls. And you know, there's so much to mine there for character potential. And so that's why when I was writing a week before, or a week prior, the day before the week before is what I should be calling it. It really was an excuse to just like, oh, I can now do so many things that would take me like years to do in a reboot video, and it would take me a long time to explain in a reboot video, or I might not have a justification for putting it in there. You know, I can just have a little bit about William's interactions with like Helpy, the little computer, or I can do the
Helpy.
nightmare chambers, hint at those, and like, oh, Shadow Freddy and Michael, and who's Michael? What's he like? Because Michael's another interesting character, right? Like he could be a really interesting character that's dealing with all this trauma and regret and guilt and like trying to save people and save the people that he kind of, if the bite victim was the first death and it caused everything, he has a lot to pay for, if it kind of led to all this.
I'm so with you. Literally thinking about Michael, kind of no matter what interpretation you have about, when he was under William and when he wasn't, like, he has got to be such an interesting character. Like, like literally trying to think of anything that would come out of his brain. It can only be like a really interesting story. Love Michael.
Yes. Yeah. Carlos Menem for 10 gifted memberships. Thank you very much. W. Carlos. So I guess that because that makes me think now. Basically, I've been considering what I might want to do for my chapter 1, I guess, of the actual A Week Prior, and what I want the follow-up chapter to be. And part of me has been like, I'll just continue the William story right up until the day before anniversary starts, and then maybe there's an epilogue set after anniversary. And I could do that, and I'd be happy to do that, and I have ideas for how to do that. I've written a little bit of it already. But then I started thinking, what if each chapter is about a different character and is from the perspective of a different character, but the choices that you made as the previous character carry through and impact this other character, right? So this chapter I was thinking could be from Michael's perspective, and it'll obviously depend on where you start is going to be wherever you left off as William. So you can be like, if you did this as William, start here. If you did that as William, start here. And so like I'm thinking of maybe going into Michael next, because he's going to be quite central to the third reboot video. So I'm thinking like, oh, the William was the main character of the second reboot video, so he should be the character of the novel that comes out around the same time. So Michael can be the main character of the novel that comes out around the same time as the third reboot video. Or at least that's the plan.
Wait, Michael is going to be a big character in the third video? Not Hudson? Not Hudson Guard? That's crazy.
For a second I was like, oh shit, have I said something like controversial? Confusing? Like what? Did I forget Michael's name? Did I say something weird? Sorry guys, no Hudson A Week Prior.
That's crazy.
He's a fortnight previously, or half a fortnight previously.
Oh boy.
But I wanted to ask, do you have anything in mind for something that you want to do either along these lines or some other fan project, or not even a fan project if you're interested in like writing a different kind of book or an interactive book or whatever, if you have something that's either in the pipeline or something that you'd like to do in the future?
Yes. 100 things. I got so many things. I love making stuff, and it's so fun, and I do it so slowly, and I want to make stuff faster. So in terms of like stuff along the same lines of Return to the Pit, I'm not like currently immediately working on another book, and I didn't think that I would want to write another one because the other, you've written a week prior, the day before, the week before, I've written Return to the Pit. The next clear option is Escape the Pizzaplex, and Escape the Pizzaplex needs it, man. Like if Return to the Pit, it had a good amount of problems. Like in my opinion, Escape the Pizzaplex is almost like unsalvageable as a concept.
You just need to write a new thing. Like
a new thing that's not even about whatever escape, not about the reagent and whatever. But like I was compelled by Return to the Pit because it was bad, but it was really funny, and like it still had like some fun to it. Oh my gosh, very, very informative pig. So true, Solid Silver.
Make T-Dreads right, very important VIP.
But like with Escape the Pizzaplex, I was like, I don't want to build off that concept. But I'm not gonna lie, hearing so much praise from you and from Gibby and from everyone who's read it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to do it again. I want to feed the cycle. This is how YouTubers get addicted to feedback and whatnot. 100%. I feel it in my soul. I'm like, wow, everyone loves me. I could do it again.
Yeah. Well, so we had a little discussion about this on the last stream. And something that an idea that we kind of concocted as we were discussing was basically your book, the true canon ending, leaves off where Oswald, his dad, Gabrielle, and Chip all go into the pit together, but it ends with Oswald starting to count. So we never see where they come up. So we were saying that escape, the secret of the mimic would be all three of them go into the pit, and when they come back up, they're in Murray's costume manner. And then throughout the book, you can go into the future and go into like ruin and go into, you know, security breach and probably like help wanted and stuff. So you could do that as like the follow up and just use the like escape the. I would call it escape the pit. I think it would be a, you know, because if they don't know how to get back out, because now everything's messed up because they helped the kids. So now it's all like the pit agony has been thrown off and it's been recentered onto the like steel wool era. And I think that would be a very interesting kind of project to be like, what would Oswald do in Murray's costume manner?
Oh my goodness. Oh, and they could meet Arnold, my goat. I loved Arnold.
Of course. Yes.
Dude, Arnold, in my mind, okay, wait, this is so funny. Jeff from Jeff's Pizza, in my mind, is just like Arnold. Like, he's just like, I work so much, and you gave him so much life. But I need Jeff and Arnold to meet up. I need them to become best friends.
Oh my god. Oh, I'm just thinking now. Oh, I just thought of something really cool. I don't know if I should say it. Okay, I'll say it. There's like 150 people watching. They can spoil it if they want. You could go into Murray's costume manor and you could go into the Pizzaplex, and those would be kind of your like base endings. Is like you start in the costume manor, then you go to the Pizzaplex, then you go back to the present day and you escape, and that's the ending. The like secret route or the hard route to do would be going into R&D, into the like research and development section of Murray's costume manor, and having a ball pit there that leads you either into Sister Location or FNAF 6, because those are theorized to be like the same parts of the underground area. So you could have like, there's a pit within the pit that if you go, and then you can have like All My Consequences FNAF World stuff if you want.
Not into the pitception again. Pitception.
Yeah, because then you could go into the Sister Location bunker, go back to the surface, go to Freddy's, and go into that pit, and that would lead you into like the All My Consequences world. Into FNAF world.
I can see, first of all, absolutely such a banger idea, and it would be so cool. And also, I can see how you ended up writing a prologue and making it as long as a full-length book. Because
I'm just now like, okay, and then there can be a third book, which is Escape FNAF World, and then you have to go.
Oh my gosh!
You go down and you.
I love FNAF World.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, I know, like, you know, we dog on this franchise all the time because it has problems and stuff like that, but this does just kind of like put into perspective to me like how connected everything can be, because it is all it's so tightly woven together and yet so loosely woven together. What's up with that?
Yeah, it's that it is weird, isn't it? Like, it's what Gibby talks about, where, you know, to become a FNAF theorist now, it's like you need to have a degree in FNAF, where you have like practically a whole new language that you have to learn about, you know, how to communicate about theories and theory ideas and stuff like that, and all the names and places and releases and release dates, and even like comments on Reddit posts from like 8 years ago that are actually important to the lore.
Yes.
And books, and what's canon and what's not canon, and what part of something might be useful but might not be, you know, all that. It's a huge amount of information to keep in your head when you're going through all these games, and so it's obviously so spread out that there's so much to consume that it's, you know, when you look at it as a whole, you're like, this is a mess. It's like a tangle of everything, and any idea of any sci-fi or fantasy thing is just all in here somewhere. But then when you start to pull the threads, you actually do, like, if you have your degree in FNAF, you can pull the threads and just like slowly but surely unwind everything bit by bit and go, oh yeah, and then that links to that, oh, and then that links to that, and then that links to that, and that links to that, and then it just becomes this massive spiral that eventually you end up like, and then in 2014 Scott made FNAF 1, you know, and then you could probably even go further back to like Chipperdale and Sons or whatever it's called, you know, Chipper and Sons Lumbercamp. Like you can just go all the way back. And there's even like other games that Scott's made like beyond that are important. Like Coffee is obviously connected to The Desolate Hope and everything. It's just it's a nightmare of a series to get into, but like seriously, you know, when you're in it, I think it all clicks in a weird way in your head. It's just if you do start to pull any of those threads, sometimes it can all start to unravel, and then you're like, now I don't know what anything's based on.
And you need to get your degree in FNAF, and then like every like 6 to 8 months you need to recertify in like FNAF theory speak, basically, because if you drop off for like 6 months and then you come back, everyone is talking about something and you're like, what is it, what are they saying?
Like, how do you not know about the fake page about a fake game in the ultimate guidebook, the rest of which is unreliable, but this one page is clearly very important because it's like it just doesn't make any, I don't know, it's crazy. And then on top of that, you have to keep in mind that there's always like miscommunications and mistakes and stuff. Like that's why I thought it was so funny that the week before had that page that I just don't think is supposed to be in there, and like that took over discourse for a very long time, and I'm like, this is the perfect example of, you know, when we miss something that's like, oh, it's a little mistake, it's a little error, like, oh, whoopsie daisy, and then suddenly the whole discussion is thrown out of whack and it becomes very confusing.
Yeah, definitely. It's so rough too with that, because like, as somebody who's like made literally anything in their life, and like, man, it's just so easy to make mistakes and for them to slip through the cracks. But then as somebody who's like on the other end of it, whenever the mistakes are made and it like ripples down for, you know, a decade of FNAF theorizing, and I don't even know necessarily like what actually is a mistake, but I mean, everybody can point to security breach now because Scott kind of came out and said it was, you know, not a lot of it was supposed to be the way that it was and stuff like that. You're kind of like, oh, like how could they do this to us? Like, we spend so much time and care so much about the franchise, and like a lot of us are like making livelihoods off of it too and stuff like that, and be like, they should treat it with the same respect that we would treat it. So I don't know, I see both sides.
Yeah, I have no issue at all with the fact that there are mistakes, or that, you know, certain things slip through the cracks, or there's miscommunications or whatever. I have no problem with any of that, because that's bound to happen, especially when it's like a series manned by a single creator, like at the helm, kind of going and approving everything, or, you know, trying to oversee several different projects, also all set in several different universes, like the books and the movies and the games and everything. So it makes sense that things slip through the cracks and things don't always go perfectly to plan. My issue is when that is not being communicated back clearly, is when it feels like, that's when it feels like to me that we're being kind of, you know, trumped. You know, like, we're getting not, I don't mean to relate that to any political figures. I meant just in like the meaning of the word, the actual word. We're being, you know, no. I didn't mean that. What I mean is, like, you know, we're kind of being played a little bit, because if there is a mystery and there is a puzzle, the series, like, as much as it is made to make money and to generate sales and whatever, it feels a little bit disingenuous if there is stuff like that that's going on that isn't being communicated, that now it's like, well, is the puzzle even the point anymore, or are we just, like, you know, flailing around in this mess that we're like being told, oh yeah, you can solve it, don't worry, just keep at it, and then there's no like rhyme or reason to what can and can't be used, or what should or shouldn't be used. I still think it's the craziest thing that the retcon has not been made known to us, because I see no reason for it not to be made known to us, other than to continue discussion, you know, like, other than to generate chat about it.
Which, honestly, I mean, it has worked, because we're still discussing it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best way to handle.
See, I think if we knew all the pieces in play, we'd still be talking about it, because it's still not like, you know, 100% solvable and, you know, easy and clear. But like, I don't think if Scott came out and went like, oh, by the way, the retcon is that William never got arrested in the FNAF 1 newspapers. I retcon that, so don't worry about that. Nobody would be like, well, I guess Scott's just given us all the answers now, huh? Oh, it just takes all the fun out of it. You know, we'd just be like, thank you. I never have to consider that ever again. And it would just be like, you know, thumbs up. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It's just... Yeah,
wait. Chat. Can you name the movie? Or Unwithered. But chat. You don't want to be bamboozled. You don't want to be led down the primrose path. You don't want to be conned or duped or have the wool pulled over your eyes. Hoodwinked. Name the movie if you can. That's how we be feeling in now.
Is it Hoodwinked?
It is not Hoodwinked. Sorry, I decided something when I said that.
Is it one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies?
Not at all. Oh, Corvin's Junkyard got it, and then Ghost, and then Timothy, and and then PB. Polar Express.
Amazing. Gosh, that's so funny. Oh god, I'm just thinking about all the nonsense that we know that we like keep in our brains, you know, and
so
are like,
much
yes,
nonsense.
Just so much.
It's
nonsense. But it's great.
It's so cursed to have so much FNAF in your brain because there's just so much of it that it relates to everything in your life, and so like people will be talking about something and I'll go like.
Yep.
Game,
I can never for the rest of time ever see the numbers 83, 87, 93, 2014, 2023, like any,
which are all such recent
1979
common years.
Yeah, I know.
14.
Yeah, 1985. Like even 14 is a big one. Asif with another 5 memberships. Everyone in chat's gonna get a membership by the end of this.
It's just going crazy.
Jeez. That is a lot. Thank you so much, Asif. But like, it's because like, you know, if I see a movie came out in 1985, I'm like, that's when all the kids were killed. You know, that's just the first and only thought that comes to my head about the years 1985. Even just the number 85.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of those things that just overtake my brain, and I have certain ones from other franchises that I like. It's just like 616. Whenever I see that, I just think of Marvel immediately. I can't help it. But like, FNAF has so many numbers, and so many numbers that mean so many different things that it's just hard not to. You know, if I see R and Q even like near each other in a word, I'm like, oh, Shadow Bonnie. Like it's so tangentially related, but it's just immediately you pick it up. But yeah, so you think will you tackle the secret of the mimic, the secret of the mimic?
Oh my gosh, it's such a good question. That's right, and I was gonna say other things all the way back on that question that were kind of related. Is that it's not that I don't want to do it. It's just that I haven't finished a video in so long, and I want to make videos because I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Writing Return to the Pit was so fun, but less people want to read a fan fiction than want to see a video, and I want to make a video, and I want to make. I've been working on a really long video about FNAF AR. That's like the successor to my Ultimate Custom Night video, but it's way longer than it. And I want to make more of the in-universe videos because those were like so fun and so creative. And now like I know so many creators who would voice act in them, which is so fun. And then I also have another, I haven't really talked about this one, and I wasn't planning to, so it's just kind of like a little like teaser, but I have like another really big like fan kind of fan fiction-y type of video that's going to be like super cinematic and possibly the most challenging thing that I've ever done. That's going to be really fun, and I think people are going to like it a lot. But like kind of, it's like all kind of like along the same vein, minus the AR content of like things that I want to do that are like fan fiction but in video form. So I don't know.
That is so fair, because it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time and a lot of like energy to come up with you know, a lot of it, because you're just sitting there like sometimes it's the bits that you're not excited about writing that are obviously, I know it's a kind of an obvious statement, but like the bits that you haven't, you know, been so excited to work out. It's like the bit where he has to walk down the hallway. Those can take a lot out of you, energy
Yes.
wise and creativity wise, because you're like, I can't just write, and then you walk down the hallway, and then like click here. Like it's gotta there's gotta be a continuation of the book. I can't just go from my favorite bit to my favorite bit, and they have to all mean something, and that's when it really takes like the effort to sit down and do it properly. Toys for Talbert, $5. Thank you very much, Toys for Talbert. Scott retconned that there was even a retcon due to Escape the Secret Pizza of the Mimic a week prior coming out. Yeah, the retcon was that there was no retcons.
Escape the Secret Pizza of the Mimic week prior is a banger.
The Secret Pizza of the Mimic. I like the Secret Pizza.
Oh man.
No one ask him about his pizza. So I guess then, is there any particular, is there anything particularly about writing or even just writing in general that you have, that you want to talk about, that you don't usually get an opportunity to voice, because sometimes, when we have these little like hidden passions that we like to, partake in, it can be like something that we don't get to talk about very often. So is there anything about writing or anything that particularly interests you creatively that, would relate to what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I really hadn't done any sort of like serious writing. And it's like funny to call writing a fan fiction serious, but it was like, sitting down and writing a full novel length thing and like trying to take it seriously since like kind of childhood, which is one of the reasons why I was like, this will be a great joke because I like can't write. And then I was like, no, I'm going to sit down and write. And that was, I don't know, it was like kind of scary, I guess, because I was not a good writer when I was a child. I've gone back and read it and I can 100% verify. I was not very good at it. And I actually like I don't read a ton of books honestly either. So I like feel like I'm like one of the least qualified people ever to write a book FNAF fan fiction. And I don't really read fan fiction either. So it's kind of wild, but
any fan fiction. I don't know if I've ever read any fan fiction like in its entirety. I've probably watched fan fiction like, series or whatever on YouTube or fan films and stuff, but I don't think I've ever sat down and read through, this is my fan fiction,
No, same. Like reading a week prior is like the longest I've ever read of like something that I guess would be a fanfic, which is so crazy. And it's so funny to be like, I don't know. I just like didn't see myself as like the sort of person that wrote a fanfic, and then I just kind of did it, kind of like making the YouTube channel. Like all of a sudden, I was like, well, I guess I'm doing this now.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a good way to be. Just stumble into everything and just be like, oh, I guess I'm here. Gonna roll with it now. Just roll with the punches, roll with everything as it comes.
It's so fun though, but like all that I'm saying is that like finishing a creative project is so freaking rewarding. Finishing a script or finishing a video or like finishing writing, and then obviously getting people's reception to it, but just like the sense of like I'm somebody who can finish something is such 100%. A good feeling.
It is. No, it is. It's great because as well, like once you have it in a place where you're happy to kind of start, sharing it and putting it out there.
Yeah.
You do get this sense of like there has been something taken off of me and put out there. Like I somehow successfully channeled a part of myself into this like work. Holy moly, there is a lot of ASIP again, 20 gifted memberships. Oh my god.
Guess who?
It's ASIP again. Person's credit card away. Holy moly. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. And not to get like
stream to take their credit card.
Oh my gosh. Not to get like too like I don't know like sappy with it. Be like I love my fans. But like it is like especially cool to like have people who like watch me regularly and like recognize me and read my stuff and watch my stuff because like in real life the number of people who can bear to have a conversation with you about Five Nights at Freddy's is one hand, maybe one finger, maybe no finger for most people. And for some people, the conversation can be like 5 minutes, And so like the fact that like I can like write a whole freaking fan fiction about it, and then I have like all my YouTuber friends, and then all the people who watch my content and like keep up with me and stuff like that, who are like really excited about my creative projects, is like it's so freaking sweet. I feel so lucky to have it. Like, man, people are so kind to me, and I've said it like 4 times in the stream now, but it's so true.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's such a good feeling. Because like you said, I had nobody that I knew that I could talk to about FNAF at all for pretty much all my life. Even now, like in person, like very few people. A few of my friends like are kind of into it or used to be into it or whatever, but like nowhere near the degree of like myself or yourself or Gibby or T-Dreads or anyone. And like finding that space to talk about it was so like refreshing, because you felt, I felt anyway when I got onto calls with people for the first time, like after I made my my first couple of videos and started getting into discords with people, and then I could say stuff like happiest day and everyone that I was talking to knew what that meant, and I was like, oh, this is crazy, like I can just speak without having to be like, so that was in a game that came out in 2014, but it's actually super relevant to this book that came out in 2021. It's like it was such an interesting thing. And then, like you said, now to have people react to what you're making is a whole other level of it, where you're like, it's like you were saying, it's hard to find people to talk to about in real life. I literally, when my girlfriend can't go to sleep, I will literally bore her to sleep talking about these. Because it's not like she's like, oh, who's talking about this again. It's just, it's such a thing. It's the way I talk about it to somebody who doesn't know anything about it is like, it must be the most insane thing to ever listen to, and it's probably very tiring to try and parse through all of the sentences and run-on sentences that are going on.
That's so true. And trying to explain to somebody who like knows FNAF 1, 2, and 3, and then you say something and you're trying to like catch them up a little bit to get them to just understand what you're saying, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this is so incomprehensible. There's like no way to do it shorter than Gibby's 8-hour video.
Yeah, it's almost more difficult to do it with somebody who is only into the first few games, because they have a preconceived notion to certain things. So true. And like what they know, and so they think like, oh yeah, I can handle a Five Nights at Freddy's conversation, and then you're like, okay, so Oswald goes back in time in the ball pit, right? And that's powered by agony. And agony is manifested into Eleanor. And they're like, what are you talking about? This was the funny Scare Bear game. Like, what has happened? So there's this guy named Hudson. And then a sleeping in the bed emoji. That's really funny, Mark.
That's crazy. I feel like... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, it's just a little bit of a change of topic, but I feel like when you were asking about, like, what I had to say about writing it, I was mostly just talking about it. I was like, wow, I don't really do that, and it was a surprise, and it felt really good. But I don't know, I feel like you have written more personally, a lot more at least, because I wrote 0 before this. Do you have like big thoughts on yourself as like an author and your process and writing? I feel like a lot of people in the chat have mentioned writing advice, and I have no writing advice besides to do it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd have anything super profound to say on like you've got to do this when you're writing, you've got to do that when you're writing. One thing I have found in general with creative stuff, and this might just be a me thing, I don't know, other people might be different, I find it's best not to like because what I find is I get really excited about an idea, right, and then I want to write it, and I'm filled with energy, and I'm like, let's go, I'm gonna write this thing. And then I sit down and I start writing it, and I've got a little bit written, whether it's a script or a video or whatever, and I write a little bit of it, and I write to a point where I'm like, ooh, this was really fun, I really like this, and you're very excited, you're still in that honeymoon phase of writing. And then sometimes I make the mistake of showing people that at that stage I start like showing people like, oh, look, I wrote this little thing, it's a work in progress, but I want to see what you think of this, because I'm still in the phase where I'm like, this is so cool, I love writing this. But what I end up doing is I end up fulfilling the like the narcissistic side, which is like, oh, I want them to tell me it's good and that they like it as much as I like it, and I end up fulfilling that kind of wish, and then the kind of energy and the excitement that goes into it, I'm almost like I've gotten that kind of payoff that I was expecting from like the finished piece, and it can sometimes then like drown out the motivation to continue. Not that the only reason you should write is for positive feedback. That's not what I mean, but you know, there is a certain element
It
of
is a motivator, though.
yeah, like it's you know, it's the satisfaction of somebody seeing something and being like, good job, you know, or ooh, this is cool. So I always say to people, like, keep an idea to yourself, you know, a little bit longer past that initial phase. Like, you should only really be showing it to be getting constructive feedback. You're not looking for people to be like, this is awesome, you know. You want people to be able to read it and give you some form of feedback, and even if it is super positive, that you can take that and work from it. Not that you're taking that just to be like, great, they like it, I did a good thing, and now I'm going to just forget about it, you know. So that'd be one thing I suppose I've learned that I just know about myself and how I sometimes end up working, is to not be too quick to show off something that you've done if you're still in those kind of early stages. And I guess in general I find just writing to be a very, like, I'm not going to say it's a meditative process, you know, because there is the stressful parts of writing where you're sitting there, you know, pounding your head against the wall trying to figure out, you know, the right way of a character doing something, or the right sentence, or the right way to communicate something. Or, like I was saying earlier, the hallway scene where you've got to get someone from A to B, and it might not be the most interesting action ever, but you have to find a way of turning it into something interesting. But, like, the part of writing that I find most satisfying is trying to identify, like, a key theme or driving force to your story. Picking something that is, because I come from writing short films in college. Like, you know, I've written other things, of course, but, like, that's the thing I have the most experience writing. And when it comes to short films, you really don't have much time. If you only have like a 10-15 minute film, you don't have a lot of time to say a whole bunch about a whole lot of different things. You know, you don't get your B and C plots that are going to tie up and resolve into it's usually like, this film is about insert, you know, word here or set of words here, and, like, identifying those and making sure that your story is, like, trying at every step to, like, reach for that idea, I think is important. It doesn't have to be like a theme, like, oh, the theme is, you know, love or whatever, you know, because one word themes are kind of not great. But, you know, even if it's just something like with A Week Prior, where I was like, my focus is to get into the head of William and understand him and his ego and his narcissistic tendencies, and also how he's so contradictory to that, like in his own beliefs about himself. He's so obviously one way, and yet he thinks of himself another way. And that was like everything that I was doing, every choice he was making, every, you know, little bit of narration that he was giving the audience, or, you know, the narrator was telling the audience that he was thinking, was in pursuit of that goal. You know, I wanted people to know that about him, and whether it was explaining why he was that way, or showing examples of him being that way, or, you know, trying to see if there was like a contradiction to that. Is there any places where he is more self-aware? Stuff like that. It was all focused around that one kind of core central idea. And obviously, as you go through and you write the book, you can flesh it out, or if you're writing a movie that's, you know, a bit longer, you can flesh it out and have more ideas that are coming into it. But I think for people who don't have a lot of experience writing, finding that core idea that you're trying to go for with, with your script or your story or whatever, and then, like, focusing on that, and when you're assessing your story, being like, is this part of the story actually doing me any favors? Is it actually saying anything or doing anything successful in terms of, like, what my goal is? So, like, even for your book, and correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, you were trying to achieve that same sense of kind of fun and intrigue and, like, attention grabbing nature that the Avengers parts had in Return to the Pit. And, like, you were so, like, and I think you can feel it when you're playing the book, that, you know, all of the pieces that have been crafted to be enjoyable. There's not just Oswald gets hit by a car ending number 4 that you can get to like 3 different ways. It's just like everything has been crafted to be as enjoyable as it can be in that moment, as you're going through it.
Yeah, I feel like, well, one thing, actually, you know what? There's a super chat first that maybe we should answer before, because this will probably be another long tangent from Kettle God.
Yeah. Let me
uh,
see. Yeah, we'll talk about that donation in a second, Kettle God. Thank you.
okay, cool, cool, cool. I feel like you and I had very different experiences because you were writing William Afton and I was writing Oswald, which could be two more different people. But like Oswald kind of ends up just being kind of like a very generic. I mean, he's got like a little bit of personality. Like he watches old movies and he plays arcade games and he thinks his life is boring. But for the most part, like if the reader can kind of put themselves on Oswald, but I really hope that the reader can't put themselves on William Afton.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
very different in that way. And I feel like, and also the format of a choose your own adventure novel is very different from the format of a book in terms of, well, no, sorry. Obviously it's got a lot of similarities, but like one thing that's very different is that the choices that you make have to do with whether or not you win, basically. And so I feel like kind of the only like theme I really stuck with in terms of winning is that I felt like if Oswald um did his best to be clever and also to be kind, that the
yes.
ending wouldn't be bad for him. There were like a few times that it would end the book quite early. Like there's the one where he like goes and strikes up a conversation with Jeff and he never goes in the pit and they
Yeah,
repair the
yeah, I really
arcade
like
games
that
together
ending.
and
That
stuff
was
like
so
that.
cute.
But that was actually yeah, one of my favorite endings too. I really like that idea. And stuff like that. But I feel
I
like
love
that was
Jeff.
probably the only I don't know if it's theme. I'm kind of a bit of like a moralist. I just like good things happening to people who make good choices and bad things happening to people who make bad choices. And I like happy endings.
Yeah, of course. No, I mean, I would agree, and I know it doesn't seem like it from what I wrote, but like I 100% agree, and that's why I want William to suffer in all these miserable ways in a lot of the endings, or for Michael to come out on top. The poor guy.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because you said that like, oh, Oswald is a very simple character, and you called him like kind of your protagonist guy, but it was something I called out quite early on in the book as I was reading, and it was something I felt when I initially read through the first bit of it when you had sent it to me ages and ages ago, was something that I found very starkly contrasted to Return to the Pit, where I found Return to the Pit Oswald to be kind of annoying and
Oh
mean,
yeah.
and it was strange because it felt like he had gotten way meaner in that version than in either of the other versions. And something I really liked about your Oswald was you did a great job of conveying him as realistically like stubborn or realistically annoyed,
Mm.
and it wasn't like he was just being a little brat who was annoying and just like, my dad doesn't get me anything. I don't want to stay at this stupid library. It was like, he understood the complexities of the situation. He understood why he couldn't have all these things, but he still didn't. He still felt like it was unfair a little bit, but he didn't want to take that out on the wrong people. And I thought you did a
Dude.
great job of conveying that very simple complexity, if that makes sense. Like it's the
Yeah.
complexity in the very like, because he's also naive and young, like, but I felt like it was very natural for that age range of the character that you were writing to kind of behave and react in that way.
That's so it's like so fun that you like call that out specifically because that like one specific trait of being like I understand that this is like the way things have to be and that like no one is making me suffer on purpose, but I'm suffering and I'm so angry about it, like is totally channeled from like my own experience of being a kid and not in a
Yeah.
traumatic way at all. But like when
No.
you're a kid and you just like want to have fun or you want to have what you want to have and you're old enough to understand why you can't have it, but it doesn't really make it any easier to accept and you're still angry.
Yes.
It's like such a like a classic childhood experience in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it's something that's often missed in childhood, media that's based around children is, or at least ones that do it poorly, will sort of treat the kids as stupid,
Yeah.
either stupid or annoying, right? They're either so young and naive that it's actually inconvenient, and it's damaging the progress of our protagonists, and it's like, oh, we hate that kid because he's annoying, or they are like stupid and make stupid decisions that are like mind-numbingly simple, but it's like, but they're kids, so they don't know, you know. And it can be frustrating to watch, but like you communicated a very complex character in that like childhood way. And like another thing I called out was the writing of the prose itself, of like the narration. I found particularly interesting because there were certain things which Oswald picked up on, and there were certain things which he didn't pick up on. And I thought it was really interesting to read, because you're, you know, reading the book, and this is why I love the second person, like as in writing, you did this, you did that, is you get the like objective view of a narrator, right, who can tell you what's happening, but it's all framed in such a way that you're viewing it through the lens of the character. Like if the character read the book that you're reading, they'd be like, yes, this is a 100% factual accounting of what happened. But you can read the book and you're not reading their thoughts, you're reading somebody who's like smarter than them tell you what they're thinking. And so there's like this built-in like irony in it, like the way the narrator's speaking. So when, for example, Oswald's interacting with Jeff, early on in the book, like offers Oswald like an extra pizza, and Oswald doesn't have the money to pay for it, and he's like, oh, don't worry about it, kid, I made it for the dinner rush, and it's gonna go cold before then anyway. And Oswald goes, there's no dinner rush here, I've never seen anyone in here. And he misses that it's just like Jeff being nice. And I thought that was such a pure, like, true moment in the book. And so like I wouldn't call Oswald a simple character. I'd call him like a very is it naive is not a fair word to use, but like
he just gets some things and he doesn't get some things. He's got that, like, he's just like a little back and forth, because he's learned some things and he's got more things still to learn.
Yeah. I mean, I remember with like the William choices, because you're talking about like getting in William's head, and then like, you know, you're playing this game to win, and certain choices are leading you down different paths that, you know, all end up saying something about the book as a whole. Something I was thinking about with William, and with just, I think, Choose Your Own Adventures in general, and I guess this would be my only bit of specifically Choose Your Own Adventure book knowledge, or I wouldn't call it advice, because who am I, but like, you know, from my experience in writing one, is I think it's important that when a choice is made, and you did it in like a hilarious way, where one of these particular paths I'm thinking of, you called out how weird it is, but like when you're making a choice in the path, when you're making a character make a choice, I think personally it's important that both choices are things which are logical for the character to do.
Yes.
And when you're writing those paths, you need to make it clear why that was the chosen path over another. Or not even that, like, even if you don't make it explicitly clear, like in certain choices, I definitely had, like, you know, you think about the consequences of doing this, so you do the other thing instead, you know, or you can just have it happen, but then later on you kind of get in a little bit more to why that was the angle they took, rather than going the other way. And both are perfectly, you know, acceptable answers as to why that happened. But I just think it's weird in an adventure book if you choose something and then you're like, yeah, why would I do that though? That makes no sense. I'm just doing this because the author needed another parallel path where, you know, I die in it instead. And you have, I think you know the example that I'm talking about.
Yes, when you decide to just stay and leave and start a new life, and in the option, I'm like, first of all, click here. Second of all, why on earth would you choose that? That's the dumbest possible option, or whatever I say. But that's right. That was like one of the very few things, I wouldn't say that you didn't get, but it was like a reference that I put in, is that in one of those endings, he gets adopted by parents in Thebes, Illinois, which It used to be. I don't know if it still is now because I'm not up on Poppy Playtime lore, but that used to be the town that people thought that Poppy Playtime took place in. So that was the joke there. Anyways, that's off topic. I loved like actually one of my favorite parts about like writing, especially once I really got into the swing of things, is when I would have a choice where both seemed kind of okay, and then you click on one of them and the first sentence is him being like, of course I pick this path, this makes sense for this reason. And I loved for the ones that actually made sense where the justification is like good, but then sometimes when it was the like incorrect choice and he's like, of course I'm safe here at Freddy's, they say over the loudspeakers that Freddy's is the safest place on earth and stuff like that. I just think I thought it was like really, really fun to explain the justification for some reason. It was like one of my favorite ways to get in Oswald's head, I guess.
Yeah, 100%.
And I also feel sorry.
You go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like this was related to what you were saying, but I can't remember exactly how anymore. But like something I feel passionate about with choose your own adventure novels is that for like not every single death, because there's a lot of deaths, but they should like teach you something about the environment that helps you go back and make the right decision, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's yes, 100%. Because there are like when you're writing because this is another thing I suppose to keep in mind if people aren't keeping it in their heads, is like every choice in the book should, unless you're doing like a break the book kind of like glitch thing, every choice should be quote unquote canon in so much as it can happen, right? Like it's not that if you go down the left hall Bonnie is there, and if you go down the right hall Bonnie is also there. It's like if you go down the left hall and Bonnie's there, if you go down the right hall, Bonnie better not be there because he's in the left hall right now. And so if someone goes down the left hall and Bonnie's there, they should now know, okay, I'm not going to go that way because Bonnie's there. I'll go this other way. And if you break the continuity between your paths, then you can start to like confuse people as to, it starts to just make it feel like, oh, I'm just reading disjointed pages of different books as opposed to I'm making decisions in this world that exists within all these different choices. I'm gonna Kettle God says, have either you or Candy watched the joke Astral Spiff video Astral Spliff about Pizzaplex, and if so, have you considered adding it as a joke in a project? I don't know the joke Astral Spiff video that you're referring to. I know Astral Spiff, I don't know the video specifically that you're referring to.
This is so funny. I've actually watched like so much Astral Spiff. I love Astral Spiff and I reference him a lot. Yeah. Not in my videos, but like personally. But I don't think I've seen the joke Pizzaplex. I've only heard him reference it in like other videos. So I might actually have to go and watch it and then see if I want to add it in as a project. If I've watched it, I've forgotten it all. But like I know exactly what video you're talking about.
Okay. Okay, good. One of us knows. You can send it to me when you find it. Sub-Zero 9000 for $2. Why is Withered Freddy drinking tea? Because I wanted some tea. It's a fireside chat. This is a sophisticated discussion. Oh yeah, I don't know if I explained at the beginning why we're here and not in the usual studio. I just thought because we're discussing very serious literature that we needed a more classy studio to discuss it in.
We're refined. We're dignified gentlemen.
We've got some great reading on the table. We've got The Week Before. We've got Return to the Pit. We have Fetch. We have the Security Logbook, and we've got 3 copies of Lynn McTaggart's The Field.
Oh my gosh! I didn't notice The Field. That's crazy.
And then lots of water.
We're educated. We're smart. It represents how very smart we are. The size of the mug. Oh, sorry.
So I was just gonna say you actually might not have noticed. I should have mentioned it to you. It's probably gone cold by now. I got you some hot chocolate. It's in the little gold cup in front of you behind the.
I love hot chocolate. I was just thinking about hot chocolate this very morning. That's fine. I'll heat it up in the microwave like a plebeian.
And T-Dreads is on the mantle. Yeah, the T-Dreads candle replica is sitting up there next to the Celebrate poster. Asiv for $14.14. He just says 14. Thank you so much, Asiv. Jeez.
I was gonna say about the mug specifically, it's like sending me how small it is in the hand.
I'm a big robot.
It's just so goofy.
They don't make any. It was hard enough to find this chair. This chair is still too small. I barely fit in this thing. My leg is clipping through the couch. I can't,
Oh my gosh.
Oh, good night, Ben 10 Screams. Ben 10 Screams headed to bed. Thank you for the bedtime story. Thank you, Ben 10 Screams. And Springtrap plush on the wall. Yeah, we got some Easter eggs. We got the Heyday toys on the wall, the figurines. But anyway, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that needs discussing. Anything else? Anything in particular in FNAF that you're excited for, like announced projects or rumored projects, or the movie or books or anything like that?
Gosh, I was in the rabbit hole recently, which chat is the code word for where I don't log into my Candy accounts for a little while and I go dark.
Yeah.
Nothing new has been announced though, right? I mean, like we don't have anything official on the new movie or any DLC or a new game or anything,
no, we
right?
don't have anything. There's like the stuff that was announced like last year that we haven't heard anything about since.
I'll laugh any day now.
Yeah. But yeah, but like the one that comes to mind for me that I was excited about was it was like the Tales from the Archives or something it was called. It was like it's supposed to be a book, like an activity book style thing about different artifacts from different parts in Fazbear's history that would all like come with like little item descriptions and stuff. But we've heard nothing, and I think it might have been shadow cancelled. But I was really excited for that because I was like, oh, that could be like the next logbook. Because what an idea for a book, It's like call it like the Fright's Archive or the Fright Archives, and it's all the stuff that was sold in auction at Fazbear Fright, you could have this is a wristband from Freddy Fazbear's Pizza that was found in the back alley in 1985, or 1983 or whatever. You could have just little lore hints all throughout it, and have some sort of puzzle that you have to do, and it would just be peak. I'm just waiting for the Survival Logbook 2.
Dude, Survival Logbook 2 would be so great. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, the Survival Logbook is so good.
It's so good, and I don't know why we don't have more like it. Like, that's what we all thought Ticket to Fun was going to be, and then it was like 3 fold-out pages. Ticket to Fun.
Yeah. With a black light.
It had the blacklight thing, but that didn't lead to any lore. It was just like Mike has written in this. It was really funny how much it was like the Survival Logbook and how much it wasn't like the Survival Logbook.
How it was like the Survival Logbook in every way except for the ways that mattered.
Yeah. It was like, oh, it's a thing in universe owned by Mike, and it's written in by Mike. Oh, and it's got no lore. It's got nothing in it. It's got like one piece of maybe evidence of Charlie 87, maybe. And it's dubiously canon. So we have Survival Logbook at home.
Survival Logbook at home.
Ticket to Fun.
And it's the ultimate guide.
Yeah. Character Encyclopedia 2. Yay.
Oh boy. Yeah, you know what I'm really excited for is the second Talbert Files. Most hype release.
Wait until I get to reboot the Talbert Files. You guys aren't ready.
No, but I am so excited for literally every video that you ever put out, but obviously for FNAF 3, that's going to be crazy. And everybody who's in your chats, because like no matter what video you make or what stream you're doing, there's always people in here who are like, what's happening with the next one? Because it's the most hype release of... Do you think it's coming out in 2026?
I hope so. I haven't...
Most hype release of 2026!
I'll be completely honest. I have not started making it yet. And the reason is because I'm focused on making the anniversary game, and also making, videos.
Oh my gosh, that's the most hype release of 2026. There's so many most hype releases of 2026.
But like there's the new fan game, the Guess Who game that Kane Pixels, or what's his name, Kane Carter is making.
Kane Pixels.
Kane Pixels is not making a FNAF fan game. Kane Carter, he's making a FNAF Guess Who game. That looks really good. I'm actually really excited to play that. That looks like
that's exciting.
Yeah, but the reboot stuff, very, very excited to work on it, and I have so many ideas for it, and I know exactly what I want to do. I just need to actually like write it, but there's a reason I'm holding off from making it, and we'll see if the reason continues to make sense to hold off for, or if that would just delay it too much. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to write it so that you could do more puppet voices. 'Cause your
Oh
puppet
my
dialogue
gosh.
is great.
Dude, speaking of like ego boosts in my life, like number one ego boost ever was sending the puppet lines and then everybody saying that they were really good. I was like, wow,
so
I'm
good.
like a voice actor. I'm like an artist.
Seriously, it's very impressive, and everyone, the moment that no matter how many videos I watched of people reacting to Heyday, no matter what I was watching, who was watching it, or comments I was getting, everyone was, their heart was broken by Uncle Bill. That was like,
oh my gosh, dude! Watching Ash specifically on GT Live, when she was like out for like 2 minutes after
She
Uncle
left.
Bill, I was so proud.
Yeah.
I didn't even write it. You wrote it, but I was like, I was part of this.
No, 100%. Like, yeah, because the whole scene, like the whole scene wouldn't have landed without that, that amazing performance that you gave and that Solid Silver made. Like you and he bounced off each other really well, even though it was like you weren't in the room together or anything like that. It was both recorded very separately. It was just, I think it worked. You both played off each other well, and the whole thing gelled. Kual686 says, for $5, thank you very much. I hate to go off topic, but what are your thoughts on Five Nights at Freddy's 3? It's one of the best fan games that's ever hit this community. I haven't played it. I haven't seen a single thing about it. I don't even know what that is. Because I know back in the day, there was Five Nights at something else that wasn't censored. I don't know why. Five Nights at Fuckboys. I don't know why I'm censoring myself. It's my channel. Five Nights at Frick Bears. Oh, I've seen the like images of it. I did not know that's the one it was. Oh, okay. I'll have to play that. That looks really fun. Okay, I'll have to play that. But damn. Sorry, I'm just now excited because there's a new game to play. This is all we want, Scott. We just want a game every 6 months that's it's all we need. We just need a simple little game.
Oh my gosh, Solid Silver, I see you in chat and I know I owe you lines. I will get you lines. I feel like it's like the mafia at my doorstep. Be like, all right, Candy, I'm sorry.
Hey,
it's
maybe if
time
we're
to
to call
pay up.
sometime, maybe you and me do a little bit of voice recording.
I just need one more day. I swear I'll pay you my voice lines. It's not gonna cut it. Your time's almost up, buddy. Oh my goodness. Also, Ernesto Castillo, yeah, I voiced the puppet in Heyday and in Anniversary, but yeah, most lines. Or not the puppet, I voiced Charlie specifically. Who voiced the puppet again?
That was She's Always Nervous.
Oh my gosh.
I
love
the
Nervous.
perfect voice. It was great because it was so funny. I had you as Charlie, and then I was very much like, I want a different voice for the marionette, because we've never heard if the marionette has a voice and what that voice would be separate to Charlie. So I had this idea of it being this very motherly, but kind of monotone, creepy voice, somewhere along the lines of Ballora, but a little nicer. And I sent it to She's Always Nervous, and I was like, hey, here's the idea, this is kind of what I was thinking for the voice. I think your voice would match it. And she sent it back, and I was like, both of my puppet voices are perfect. This is so good. These are amazing.
Yeah, it's all coming together.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, Nervous is a really good voice actor. Oh my gosh, I keep spoiling things, but I have used Nervous's voice acting skills for something that will come out eventually, and very good, very impressive.
Ooh, interesting.
Fascinating. Cool. Teasing things and then not saying anything about them.
Ooh, very mysterious.
Oh my gosh.
That's great. Well, I think I've successfully run out of topics to talk about. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Unless you want to bring us on another tangent, and we could go for another few hours. 'Cause I feel like I kept sidetracking and then forgetting what I was asking. But anything else that comes to mind?
Oh man, I know, and it's so sad because actually there've been like 3 questions that have popped up, and I'm like, I want to ask Unwithered this about the week, the day before, the day before. The week prior. And then I kept forgetting them, and now they're gone forever, which is so tragic because this is the perfect stream to say them on. Another super chat.
Yeah. Oh, Toys for Talbert, $20. Thank you so much. Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
Guys. When will one of you finally give us the beautiful and tragic story of Edwin Murray's struggles inventing recycling and the hurdles he had to jump over to create it? It can be titled Going Green. The fans have been begging.
Going Green, the interactive novel? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh, actually, should I say this? Should I not say it?
Say it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned Going Green, because I was writing dialogue for Anniversary for the game, and I make reference to a Going Green initiative in Fazbear.
Yo!
That's all I'll say, I guess.
Green Afton, that's crazy.
Green it's basically it's a way of explaining the building's power is where I get where it led to. But
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Fan of Nintendo, jog my memory about one of the questions, which is, do you think you're going to finish the week prior anytime soon, anytime long, never time at all?
My plan would be that when I am in the process of making the FNAF 3 reboot, to work on it alongside that, and to hopefully release the 2 of them around the same time, the same way that I did the week prior with Heyday, where, because I also need to actually go through the week prior, the stuff that I have already, and like proofread it and go back and watch Gibby's video and be like, oh yeah, this bit I need to take that out or proof check this or whatever. I also it's really funny because I'm complaining about Scott making mistakes, and then someone pointed out that I made a continuity error in my in my book versus my video, so I have to go back and fix that. But I think, I want to release it sometime leading up to and as like kind of a teaser for the FNAF 3 reboot. So
that's fun.
Yeah, so that's the idea anyway. Because like I said, I kind of it wasn't intentional when I started writing a week prior, but it essentially, because I was writing it and doing the Heyday video at the same time, and both of them starred William as the protagonist, it sort of became a way for me to like work through ideas that I was making in Heyday and like making sure that they were all the way I wanted them to be before I finalized something in Heyday. So that was like, it was a good process for me working out the protagonist and being like, okay, this thing leads into this thing and that thing is an element of this. And then when I'm building my secrets, I'm not just trying to come up with something from scratch. I'm like, oh, I can link it in the same way that we were talking about, like just FNAF in general, the way we have to pull all the threads and go down the line of where everything leads to. I'm starting to be able to do that as I flesh out the reboot universe more. There's more stuff that I can point at and go, oh, this is something that I want to set up, or oh, this is something that I want to lead to, or something I want to reference from a previous game or whatever. So I think that'll be useful if I do the same thing for the 3rd reboot, whether it be about William or about Michael. Using that as both a setup and a way of kind of workshopping the big video idea as I go, and then refining it at the end and making sure it all works.
Yeah. When you're making your secret pizza of the mimic.
Pizza of the mimic. Secret pizza of the mimic.
Pizza.
But yeah, I'd just like to say thank you very much for coming on and chatting about everything that we were talking about. It was great to learn a bit more about you and about your history with FNAF, and then also to be able to discuss the book that I enjoyed so much. So yeah, thank you for coming
Yeah,
on.
thank you. And I said it on the last stream too, but like, thank you for reading my Five Nights at Freddy's fanfic, which is like a big thing to ask of somebody to read that you wrote. So
You didn't.
I really appreciate
You
it.
didn't even ask. I asked you if I could read it. I was like, I want to get on this. This is so fun.
But and you had so many kind words, and also I don't think I said this in the last stream. I really appreciate you took it so seriously, and like the end result was that you ended up like catching like so many of the cool things that I did, and then you like called them out for your giant chat full of people, and then made me look smart, which is like so kind of you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I did none of the work for making you look smart. It was great. But yeah, I suppose now we'll turn to the audience. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. PB Sandwich member for 10 months. Would you write other fanfics from other universes? Oh, that's quite the question. Quickly, I suppose we can answer that. Would you write? Well, I'll let you go first, and then I'll have a think.
Oh goodness. I mean, never say never, because like I didn't think I would write a Five Nights at Freddy's fanfic, and then I ended up writing one. My like other, I feel like we all kind of have like our other franchise that's like a really big deal, and for me it's always been Lord of the Rings, and I could not see myself writing a Lord of the Rings fanfic. But you know, when I was talking about how I used to be a child and I used to write very poorly, and I went back and read it and verified that I wrote poorly, it was like Lord of the Rings clearly inspired sort of stuff. So yes. I mean, maybe one day. And I actually like I took that story and I started adapting it into a D&D campaign. So I guess in some ways, my Lord of the Rings not really fanfic is still alive and well and is somewhat the inspiration for my D&D campaign, but it doesn't look anything like a fanfic really anymore. Yes, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, and I could totally see myself doing like mini D&D campaigns off of other IPs. I think that's really, really fun.
Yeah, I think, yeah, D&D, I definitely would do something like a Star Wars D&D, or I think Star Wars would be like my D&D if I was to do a series. Maybe Fallout. Maybe I could do a Fallout.
Ooh, Fallout.
Something further from what I would usually run, which is like a fantasy. So for me, like doing an Elder Scrolls RPG, D&D game wouldn't be as appealing, because I don't know enough about the lore, and it would just be like, well, why don't I just come up with my own lore? Whereas Star Wars, I'm familiar enough with that universe to be like, oh, here, I'm going to throw all this stuff in, and I can play with this, and this character can be linked to that. And it's big enough that I feel like I wouldn't have to worry about bumping shoulders with, now this part they've got to run into Luke Skywalker, and that's going to be weird because now I've got to come up with stuff for Luke to do. Because it does feel like I don't think I'd write a Star Wars fanfic, for example. Like I don't think I'd be like The Adventures of Darth Vader, chapter 1, and just go from there. Because I did try to do that when I was younger, and for some reason it always felt weird. It never clicked properly for me. I think it's weirdly sacred in a way that fanfic based around it doesn't necessarily feel the same. Like what I'm doing with FNAF is more of like a rewrite or a restructure, so maybe I'd do something like that, but I don't think I'd just do flat out fanfic where it's like I'm just pretending that this is in the same universe and I'm just going with it. Like I think I need that element of reconstructing or reshaping so that I have a bit of a more control over it and a bit more say in how I think it should kind of fall. But that being in that vein, I have had a lot of ideas, and this will be an interesting one to bring up, because people either go, huh? Or they'll go, that makes total sense. Ben 10. I think I've got like a really solid pitch for like a Ben 10 reboot. I know that's like a weird pull, but I loved that show as a kid, and it's something that like in the same way as like Five Nights at Freddy's, I kind of fell back into. There's like a big Ben 10 YouTube scene that I've kind of stumbled upon in more recent years. I've kind of fallen off it again, so I haven't thought about it in maybe a year or a few months. But it's definitely something that I could see as like maybe someday I'd write that for some reason, but it's not something I'm sitting down to do tomorrow. I think as well, fan fiction would be something I'd write in response to something else that I'm doing. Like, the reason I wrote this one was because it tied into the videos, and the reason I wrote the videos is because they tied into my, my job now. But I wouldn't be writing, FNAF fan fiction if it weren't for YouTube and, like, having an audience to share it with and, like, potentially, see it grow and see it go somewhere. But I don't know. Like you said, never say never. Maybe someday I'll just get a real kick out of writing Ben 10 fan fiction.
But you know how you wrote it was anniversary was specifically around the 10-year anniversary of FNAF, right?
Yes.
Ben 10-year anniversary.
Ben 10-year. Oh my gosh, we might be past it already. When did Ben 10 come out?
I don't know. Actually, I literally would not have known what Ben 10 was if it wasn't for the fact that my boyfriend semi-recently was telling me a little bit about Ben 10. So thank you, boyfriend of mine.
There you go. Yes, it was 2005, so we've missed the 10 years. So I'll come back at the 20-year and we'll be fine.
10 years after the 10-year anniversary.
Yeah. The week before, 10 years after the 10-year anniversary. Isn't Ben 10 20 years old now? He's like 16 in the latest canon version. But then there was a reboot.
Ben 30.
Anyway, Ben 30. All right, I think that's gonna do it for today. Everyone was terrified when we turned to face the camera. Yeah, for real.
Forward facing.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I hope you had a good time watching. Thank you to Candy, again, for being here and telling us all about your experiences with FNAF and with writing this fan fiction. If you guys did not see me read through the actual Candy interactive novel, either you can go and read it for yourself on Candy's channel in the community page, or you can watch me read through it, or watch Gibby read through it. The previous 2 live streams on my channel are going through that, and there's a video on, I believe, is it Spooky Shack is where the Gibby one is?
Oh, yes.
Yes, yeah, on Gibby's Spooky Shack, there is a video reading Return to the Pit. Or Return to the Pit. Asif, another 10 just before we go.
Gosh,
one more from Asif. Thank you so much. Everyone in chat probably has a membership by now. Thank you very much, Asif. That's crazy. Well, thank you all. Everyone, have a lovely. Asif's wallet is crying. Guys, let's get some 14s in chat. Let's get some for everyone that just became a member off of Asif's dime. Everyone get as many any of the emojis, any of the custom ones in there. Send them into chat. Anyone that can't, give us a 14 in chat.
Wow.
That's amazing. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. And
thanks, chat, and thanks for having me on with her.
Woohoo! Good night.
Woohoo!